Okay, hey everyone, welcome. We are so excited to have you all here. I know, ooh, that's not great. Okay, there we go. Looks like someone had the wrong link, so I made them an attendee. All good. But anywho, so glad everyone's here. We are so excited for the session today. And Malika has such great information. I was looking at the deck just a few minutes ago, and I am so excited and to see all the examples and the gifts. I'm just a sucker for them. So I'm very, very, very thrilled. As we are waiting to get started, if y'all wouldn't mind telling us where you're coming from. All you have to do is go to that chat, make sure it's turned to everyone, not just panelists and attendees. I'm always the first person to do that message anyway. So make sure it's turned to everyone. Let us know where you're coming from. As y'all know, I'm coming from slightly sunny Lubbock, Texas today. And Malika, you're in New York today, right?
I am in New York, yes. I live in Las Vegas, but I obviously travel a lot to meet all of you amazing customers. So this week I'm here in New York City.
I love it. We've got Dylan out in Utah, Kelly out in Austin. Kelly, hope to see you Monday for the spring pre-party that we're going to have down in Austin. Definitely check out the community if you haven't seen it. Chuck, you're out in Phoenix, so it's probably starting to get hotter than hell right now. So sorry for that, but we're so excited for everyone to be here. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. This session is 100% for you. So at any point, if you have a question, a thought, concern, you disagree, you agree, whatever it is, please let us know. There's a few ways you can do that. One, you can drop it into the webinar chat like many of you just practiced. Two, you can drop it into the Q&A bar at the very bottom of your screen. And three, if you want to ask it anonymously, you can also do that in the Q&A box, but you can also Slack me in the demand community and I'll have that pulled up on the side so I can keep an eye out for all of your questions. So with all that said, this is also going to be recorded. We were joking about having a background that had like a giant blinking sign that says, don't worry, this is recorded. But don't want to distract from the excitement of the session today. So just know this is recorded. It will be posted in the customer channel in the demand community as well once we get it uploaded to YouTube. And I think that is all. I think that's all the housekeeping. So Malika, you are co-host. I will let you share your screen and take it from here, and I'll just be interjecting whenever we've got some questions for you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Katie. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and go to slideshow mode. Let me know if you all can see my screen.
Yep, you are good. Yep.
Awesome. All right, so welcome to our customer masterclass on how to build a full funnel campaign strategy in metadata. Before we get going into the topic itself, I want to give a quick intro about myself. I am Malika Kennedy. I am the Senior Director of Customer Success here at Metadata. I've been here at the company for 5 years. Next month is my 5-year mark. So I worked with hundreds of customers just like yourself and worked with them on their media plans, on their strategy to help them achieve their goals. And I'm hoping to share a bit of what I've learned the past 5 years across many different customers, targeting many different types of ICPs from cybersecurity to financial to healthcare, and bring some of those amazing learnings to you. So let's get started. It starts with why, if you have read that book. So let's just start with why full funnel. And I love to see comments in the chat. And let's just start with why not put all our budget behind demos and just generate demos that drive pipeline? Why even do top funnel, mid funnel, any awareness? What's the point of doing all of that? In the chat.
Can you repeat the question as well for everyone?
Yeah, so why have a full funnel campaign strategy? Yep, full picture of customer journey. There we go. And you know, it's the answer. Oh, there's one more. Oh, that's you. Why full funnel campaign strategy? We want to understand the entire customer journey and specifically the journey that happens pre-sale, right? To put it simply, not everybody in our ICP is ready to buy. Not everybody in our ICP might even be considering our product or solution like ours. Not everybody in our ICP might even be aware of our brand. So for those reasons, we want to make sure we cover all our bases and we're nurturing our prospects who then turn into customers, some percentage of them. We are nurturing them with the right messaging, right offer throughout their journey before they become a customer. So that's one of the key reasons of doing full funnel. We could try to put hundreds of thousands of dollars, all our marketing budget behind the decision offers, which is meetings offer. But what you will start to see is those costs increase and those efficiencies decrease. So you will only go so much so far. Yep, exactly, Chuck. Love that comment. People don't know who we are, so we have to start with awareness. Later drive to demo. Exactly. Awesome. So let's get going. In terms of the agenda, we're first going to talk about locking in your strategy, benchmarks, goals, how to segment your budget, where it should go, how to get the most out of our target audience, building high quality lead capture forms. So when we do get people to a landing page or to a form, how do we maximize the people that sign up? And how do we drive meaningful ads that get people to that offer in the first place? So we're going to be unpacking all of this today, and we're going to be starting with this strategy. So the first thing is we need to be strategic about our spend, especially in this economy. Every single dollar needs to go a lot further. So where every dollar goes, how much of it goes in different channels, audiences, ads, offers, and what results it's going to bring us, we need to know, and we need to be able to forecast before we even go live with anything. And there's a simple 3-step process to locking your strategy. I'm going to be sharing, Katie and I will be sharing a template with you all after this webinar, but really what I want to share with you is this Excel sheet, and it's a one-time thing, one-time exercise you'll want to do, where you will basically work with your revenue admins and gather your benchmarks. The benchmarks will include lead to meeting book rate, your meeting book to pipeline rate, your closed run rate, all those amazing benchmarks. We're going to then plug in your budget. And with those benchmarks, then we're going to start forecasting your results based on the budget strategy that you select. So what am I saying in all of this? Is basically this. So first, inserting your benchmarks. So by funnel stage, TOFU, which is awareness, MOFU, which is consideration, and BOFU, which is decision, we want to understand what is the max CPL threshold. And what I typically recommend is looking at least last 6 months of data, if not more. Obviously, the more data you are using to find these benchmarks, the more statistically significant that data will be. That means the higher the confidence level you can have in the forecast that you predict here. And so you'll probably want to look at all of your TOFU assets that have brought in the leads in the past. What does the average CPL look like for that? And what's the max you're willing to spend even beyond that? And you want to plug in those numbers here. Then you want to look at how many of your leads in the past converted into an actual meeting. And then you also want to look at how many of those meetings actually went through to a qualified stage. And then how many of those qualified opportunities turned into revenue, close one deal. And now these numbers may vary stage to stage, and in some cases it might not vary. Every company is different, and the variations can exist because of that. So once you have these numbers nailed down, you can start to define your budget strategy, set goals, and predict results. So you have your budget group here, basically branded, which is, and then we have downloads. This is where we're actually asking people to opt in with their information. MOFU and BOFU, this is also downloads or opt-ins, where we're asking people to give their information for a specific asset.
Hey, Malika. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had gotten a question in the Slack community, so thank you for asking that. Whenever it comes to benchmarks, how would you recommend a first-time user and for like a brand new employee coming into a marketing team that just has this tool and doesn't really have much data, what would you recommend those benchmarks to really look like and where to build them from?
I love that question. So metadata actually produces an annual report, benchmark report. So if you don't have those, if you don't have those benchmarks figured out, you can, where'd it go? Oh, I had that link open. There's one more link. I'll send it to you guys. Metadata 2022 benchmark. There we go. So this is the latest. And if you just scroll down a bit here. Oops, sorry guys, I missed it. I'll share the link with you guys. There's a benchmark report, which you can actually play around with. And I had it open. You can even plug in your employee size, your company size, your industry and whatnot. And it's going to give you some of these lead to triggered op rate, lead to MQL rate, things like that too. So you have a baseline to start from. And then you want to take the next 3 months and see what your data is telling you. Your benchmarks, your baselines might look wildly different from the baselines we have done on average. And that's, again, depending on your product, on your go-to-market strategy. So you'll want to use the benchmark report as a baseline, Katie, in case you're able to drop that in the chat. Thank you so much. And then you want to get your own data, use those as baselines, run it for 3 months, and then set your own benchmarks. So I hope that helps. Cool. Any other questions, Katie, before I keep going?
Yep, you are good.
Cool. Awesome. So with a maximum CPL threshold and knowing our estimated budget on this left-hand side, again, this can change. We're in planning mode right now. We're playing around with these numbers. We can predict like how many leads that budget and that CPL threshold will bring us. If we can know what our lead goal is, then we can start plugging in our conversion rates to understand how many meetings will those lead volume turn into. And with our ACV plugged in, how much expected pipeline we should see, and how much a qualified pipeline we should see, and then how much expected revenue we should see. All in all, you can also predict your return on ad spend. So for every dollar you're putting in, you're getting $50,000 out. Or for every $10,000 you put in a budget group, you're getting $50,000 out. So that's about 5x. And again, your return on ad spend can change by funnel stage, and it will definitely tend to be the highest when it comes to bottom funnel campaigns. But we know they only go so far, which is why we need other levels in our funnel. Now, this is just one example. Your funnel could look different. So for example, metadata, we're probably a lot more on tofu and bofu, right? We like to do a lot of ungated. We just want to reach our audiences at the right time with the right message. We just want to provide value. And once they have interacted and engaged with us enough, we leverage primarily retargeting to go after them and offer them demo offers. So our funnel probably looks like more two stages, and heavily skewed towards brand awareness, and then significant budget also towards bottom funnel offers for demos and incentives. Awesome. So once you have the budget media plan set up, you can easily then plug this into metadata. This is what your budget group name turns out to be, your monthly cap, your target, and your benchmark for that target. So this way, on a day-to-day, weekly basis, as the results start to trickle in, you can see what you're seeing on average for that group, that month, that time. Is that comparative to the benchmark you set? Is that higher? Is that lower? And that can drive further actions. You will also want to make sure that as you are setting up the budget group, you are optimizing for both performance and pacing. The algorithm in metadata will automatically reallocate budget towards top performers. It's reviewing your experiments every 4 hours. It's looking for the ones that are bringing the best volume for the best cost, and it's putting more budget towards those top performing experiments. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be lead-based. There are MQL-based, triggered opportunity-based, and influenced opportunity-based formulas also available. So maybe when it comes to campaigns like BOFU or even air cover or sales acceleration, you can start to leverage some of those deeper funnel metrics for optimization, because it's not necessarily about the lead, it's more so about the pipeline. One of the common questions I get from customers is, okay, if we set up our optimization formula to be opportunities and we don't have enough opportunities, what does the algorithm do? And it simply goes to the next best thing that's available if there isn't enough data. So if we are optimizing towards triggered opportunities, there is no triggered opportunities, but there is influenced opportunities, then you'll start optimizing towards influence. If there isn't triggered or influence, then you'll start optimizing towards MQL. If none of this exists, it'll start optimizing towards lead. Another automation that exists, and that exists for the sole reason of to stop budget wastage. The system does not want you to spend your budget if it's not being spent efficiently, is auto pause rule. Now, these could be hard to not get right if we are not sure of our baseline. So sometimes you might not want to turn them on right away because you're not sure of the CPL threshold that a specific budget group could be getting, and you're in very early stages, testing stages. You haven't quite figured out what does a good performing experiment looks like, things like that. But once you have your baselines and you have enough experiments producing results at that cost or below, you can really start to add the auto pause settings here to ensure any new iterations you launch don't spend unless it's efficient for your demand gen program. Awesome. Now, let's move on to maximizing demand from your audience. So 3 key things to note here. There is gold in your marketing automation system and your CRM. There are a ton of audiences that can be created, a ton of automation set up for every audience level and group level. So you don't never have to, even create a new audience ever again. It automatically, as the audience moves from one stage to another, the ads that they see, the messaging that they see also evolves. We're going to get into that in a bit. Exclusions are just as important. We're always focused on who we want to target in different stages, but a lot of times what we don't do is we don't exclude all the right audiences we need to exclude to make sure there are enough net new names coming into our database. It's not about finding, the third thing is it's not about finding everybody that we possibly can, right? As broadly as we can. We might find fewer people, but they have to be high quality, and we want to find them everywhere we possibly can. We want to get in front of the right people as much as we can possibly. And one of the easy ways to do that would be to diversifying our ad channel mix, and again, being strategic with what type of funnel offers we run to which ad channels.
So one of the questions I just got is about, what do you do whenever you're being forced to bring in quantity, not quality, but you're trying to still sneak in a little bit more quality for those leads as well?
That's a great question. Usually there's a desire to bring more quantity in because someone doing the math from lead to pipeline or lead to source operate is like, okay, looks like 3%. If we just increase our lead volume by this, that should result into this effect. So going back to this, there's someone definitely running these numbers, which is why that need for like more leads, more quantity is coming through. So I think we need to be curious and we need to ask questions, right? Why do we need to generate this amount of leads? Is there a specific lead to meeting conversion rate or lead to pipeline rate we're looking at? could we potentially look to explore improving the conversion rate so that even though our lead volume stays the same, we're seeing more pipeline. And also that way the sales team is focused on all the right leads versus junk coming into the door.
I love that.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, we had a follow-up question. What is your opinion on introducing a lead scoring system between the stages?
Yeah, I mean, my basic psychology or like theology is that you shouldn't, keep things simple. We don't need to complicate things. I think it's important to include some sort of lead score that can differentiate from a good lead from a bad lead, right? So a lot of times our customers use MQL, and MQL tells us if the lead is quality or not. And that way the system knows to optimize more towards this audience versus another audience, because it could typically be the audience that's not good. So from a lead scoring perspective, I would say have one, whether it's MQL, whether it's something else, but just have one definition and use it to specifically just measure good lead, bad lead. I don't think even at Metadata we have introduced a lead scoring model yet. Another one use case that I can think of a customer that did use lead scoring models between stages. And that was to kind of decide what kind of offer should be showed to what kind of stages. So you can create contact list segments. You can pull it from your HubSpot or from your Marketo or even from Salesforce. And you can create different audiences, lead scores from 0 to 50, lead scores from 50 to 100, lead scores from 100 to 150. And the type of offers you show them when they're in that lead score stage, those can evolve. And that could be a really interesting tactic to deploy. It might work really well for you also. Cool. All right. So maximizing demand from your audience. So they're using CRM and marketing automation, exclusions, and reaching all the right people in all the right channels. So let's break this down in two ways. Audiences with absolutely no intent and audiences with some level of intent to high level of intent. When we are looking at the awareness stage, we basically want to go after anybody in the market that's not aware about our solution, our offering, about our brand, and we want to make them aware that one, they might have a problem, right? Sometimes people don't even know they need a solution, so they need to be aware of the problems that might be existing and how they can help, and then just educate them on the solutions that are available and why our brand eventually particularly is the right solution for them to go with. So in this case, we want to go after colder audiences, right? So think about any firmographics, certain company sizes, certain industries, certain job titles, functions, skills, groups, all of that exists in firmographics, certain technographic companies that are using a competitor product or a complementary product to your business. You might have a list of target accounts that you have never marketed to before. You could also target people who you have previously shown ads, but they've never engaged with your ads. So there's like maybe some awareness, but not really. And the most important thing here is to exclude everybody, all the contacts in your database, all those emails, and exclude people that have already been to your website. This is how you get a clean net new audience. Now, when we come into more on the consideration or decision stage, we want to start looking at intent-based audiences, because the mid-funnel content will be brand focused. The bottom funnel content will be brand focused. So they need to know your brand before they see those ads, before they see those offers. So what are some of the examples of intent-based audiences? One could be you have an intent provider, right? So G2, lead sift is already available in metadata. So if you have not tried that intent audience yet, that will be something that's available to you. You can always go and create an audience segment and test that out. There's Bombora, there's Demandbase, there's Sixten, there's all different types of intent providers, and they all also have their own level of stages from awareness down to decision. People who have already opted in for your content before that already exist in your database, those are also people with intent. And then people who have engaged on your ad, visited your website, or opened your lead form offers, or converted on those lead form offers, they're all people with intent. So we can be targeting those with mid-funnel or bottom funnel offers, but just make sure you exclude your SQLs, because if the goal is to get meetings out of here, and if you already have people that have been to the meeting stage, you don't want to waste your budget there. So exclude those folks that are already in that stage where they're meeting and talking with sales.
I am kind of curious, kind of going back to the lead scoring question, whenever it comes to the audiences, do you recommend creating a lead scoring based off of how many engagements that they're having, how many, how they're reacting to different touch points in Tofu and Mofu?
Yeah, I think one of the best practices for lead scoring model is to make it have 3 components to it. So formographic, is it the right company? Demographic, is it the right person? So job title. And then third is behavioral, like how engaged they are. Have they downloaded 1 offer, 2 offer? Did they download 1 offer, but it was a demo request, so it was high intent offer? So those will be the 3 buckets, and you'll want to divide some sort of score based on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. The next thing is channel priority by your KPI or funnel stage. So usually when we're doing brand awareness, we want to get as much traffic as possible to our website and pay as low of cost as possible to bring that traffic, right? So low CPMs, low CPCs, just bring people to our website, let them explore. We're not looking for any leads. We're just looking to bring people to our website and be aware of everything that we have to offer. So if you were to prioritize channels, the best channel to do this on would be display. The reason for that is display will give you very, very cheap CPMs and CPCs, very much comparable to Facebook costs actually. But where Facebook falls short and display does not is the de-anonymization of the traffic. So within metadata, you'll be able to look at the accounts you are reaching from your programmatic efforts, and also realize the cheap cost that channel provides in terms of CPC and CPMs. After display, we actually have LinkedIn listed out here. And the big reason why LinkedIn and not Facebook, even Facebook has some of the best cost per clicks, is because Facebook is not able to provide company level reporting. And one of the most important things with brand awareness is understanding which accounts, who is coming to your website from your campaigns. And LinkedIn provides that really, really well. Again, it's all in your account funnel report in metadata. After LinkedIn, it would be Facebook. You'll see amazing costs there. And if you are doing Facebook lead gen and you see the quality of leads coming through, you will have a high level of confidence to be able to do brand awareness on Facebook and supercharge your targeting pools without necessarily needing to know that you're reaching, who you're reaching, because you already have done lead gen campaigns. You already know it produces great quality leads. You've already seen revenue and pipeline come from Facebook. So you feel more than comfortable putting a bunch of budget behind Facebook and running that as your awareness channel. And a lot of customers actually majority spend on Facebook for brand awareness. Sometimes the Facebook CPCs will even beat display. Last but not the least, paid search. Paid search is an intent-based channel, so we'll want to primarily run more lead gen or demo type of campaigns on paid search, so it's prioritized last for traffic. Next, we have lead gen. So this is more so content offers. The channel priority here would be Facebook, LinkedIn, and paid search. Facebook, because you'll get really cheap costs and you'll get really high quality of leads, just like you would on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is just more expensive channel than Facebook. Typically, again, every company differs, every company's results differ, but typically Facebook is cheaper than LinkedIn. And then we have paid search. Now, paid search, again, it's intent-based, but we don't get as much quality control on the quality of the leads. We can't really go after specific job titles or companies in paid search. There's a hacky way around it, but you probably wouldn't spend too much on those type of campaigns, which is ABM, doing ABM on paid search. And that's a separate playbook / masterclass. So in the future. And the last one is meetings. This is prioritized by LinkedIn, Facebook paid search. Everybody knows incentivized ads, conversational ads. LinkedIn really blew up after that. Hence, it's prioritized as one of the top channels we have seen our customers generate revenue from, followed by Facebook and then paid search. Paid search, branded campaigns in particular, outbeats everything, right? Because those are people specifically looking for your brand on paid search, and they convert into demos the fastest way possible. So it depends. Paid search is a broad strategy, so it really depends what we're talking about here.
So one of the questions I just got was about YouTube and that not being on this list. What is your reasoning and thought process behind that?
So we haven't, and this is all data based from our customers in the last 5 years, right? So we haven't deployed YouTube as an ad channel in metadata yet. So we wouldn't have data or confidence level to speak to that or recommend that. But I believe if you do have Google with metadata, you can push those audiences that get pushed into Google. You can also use them on YouTube, some of those matched audiences. So fun fact there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Let's go into building high quality lead captures. So first thing to know, lead gen forms beat landing pages because it's in app, because it doesn't take the user, your audience out of the app itself, because the forms are auto-filled for the most part. There is a great difference between form conversion rate from a landing page versus from a lead gen form. The average conversion of a landing page is anywhere from 2 to 3%. And then for lead gen forms can be anywhere from 7% to as high as 50-60%. We have seen some amazing offers with lead gen form with some crazy high form conversion rates. So the ceiling there is just really high when you compare that to landing pages. Obviously, there's a case to be made about the level of intent for somebody coming on your landing page versus your lead gen forms can differ 100%. But you kind of just want to capture as many leads as possible and continue to nurture them and be top of mind for them and still be able to match the same level of results. Also, if you're targeting an audience with intent, you'll most likely see good intent, whether it be lead gen form or landing page, because you have a high intent audience.
What do you think about the new LinkedIn lead gen forms?
The document ads?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So from what I have heard, they have been performing really well for a lot of our customers, doing some testing there. Metadata does not have it yet, but we do plan to bring that in, I believe, in the next 6 months. So that's coming up soon. We have heard great things about it. The next thing is landing pages. Landing pages, there's still going to be at some point that you will be running landing page campaigns, and maybe you have never tested it. So you want to kind of test it out, experiment, and see the quality, the quantity of leads you might receive from a landing page versus a native form capture. And there's some quick and easy best practices here if you're going to do that, which is having minimal fields. You still have metadata to help you with the enrichment for industry, for job title, for revenue size, for employee size, for all these things. So even though it's a landing page and not a lead gen form, you're still receiving that metadata enrichment because you're mapping your lead gen landing page in metadata to capture those leads. So again, keep your forms short, 4 to 5 fields max. Be concise in your landing page. You don't want a long landing page or landing page with too many buttons that your audience can easily get lost in and not understand what's the goal of the page. Keep the form above the folds. They might not know that this is a sign-up form if they have to scroll all the way down to the page. Add social proof, so G2 reviews, Capterra reviews, known brands that are your customers. Try to make that front and center, give that social proof, give them a reason to look into your solution. Keep it concise on the value props. These are the 3 things we do, and we do them really, really well, the best in the industry. And review your competitors' websites. A lot of times we don't see what our competitors are doing, and a lot of inspiration and ideas can come this way. And that's your competition. So your audience is most likely also visiting their landing pages. So knowing what's out there, knowing what you're competing against can help you ensure and give you that ammo as you're working with your website team and other teams to like help improve that page, because this is what others are doing. This is what a great lead generating landing page looks like. And obviously reach out to your CSMs if you're looking for any examples for high converting, really, really good landing pages also. They'll find some for you relevant to your audience, to your industry.
That's awesome. We've got another question. At what bounce rate do you determine to investigate and optimize ad landers?
Oh my gosh, great question. Bounce rates, and bounce rates can be interesting because of how they're also configured in your Google Analytics. So one time we found just how it was configured, what's considered to be a bounce was not configured correctly, which is why every campaign they ran, everything bounced 99% of the time. So I would say about anything over 97, I think 90%, 97% is still pretty common. But if you're seeing almost all of your traffic bouncing right away, there's an issue. So I would, anything over 97%, I would be concerned. But I would also look at, comparing the rest of your account. You typically see it's 50% and like it looks like 97% from this one ad channel. Or this one audience, depending on how you're using your UTMs. And I do recommend using audience in your UTM term or a new UTM to be able to get that level of data.
Awesome. Thanks, Malika.
Of course. Cool. Moving on, creating ads that convert. So at the ad level, which is basically a combination of your creative and your messaging, your click-through rate is scored, which is basically out of X amount of impressions delivered, how many clicks did that ad receive. You want to shoot for something higher than 0.5. LinkedIn, I believe, has a standard of about 0.38, 0.4. Facebook, for B2B, it's around 0.5 to 0.7. It can really depend on the audience, but anything 0.5 or higher, closer to that 1% mark is exceptional. And that's really what you want to be looking for. What that tells you is that the connection between the ad, the offer, and your audience is really, really strong. And if you see it lower than that, we still need to probably continue to iterate and optimize to see what might resonate better with the audience. Some of the things that do help is personalization, right? So I've seen customers go after specific personas in their audience, like practitioners or decision makers, with specific offers that would appeal to the practitioner or decision maker. So for example, you might have a guide first 30 days as a CISO. And you might not want to show that to the practitioners, but you definitely want to show that to the C-suite or the CISOs in your target audience. Similarly with industry, going after financial services or healthcare and specifically naming their industry or role in the ad or messaging can help a lot. So personalizing that ad as much as possible. Even when you're using conversational ads, there are a lot of macros that you can use in your convo ad messaging, which will automatically update the message to include the person's job title, company name, industry, things like that. And it produces a lot better results. The third thing is your experiment strategy. You want to test wildly different creatives. If you are launching experiments and you're just testing 5 different ad colors or text on right versus text on left, it's not meaningful enough to get wildly different results. So testing a chart versus a human in the image, or testing just words versus just images, like get really, really wild when it comes to experimentation, long story short, both with copy and with creatives. You don't have to have 80-20 experiments. You want to start small. You probably want to have 2 wildly different creatives, 2 wildly different solution or pain points or messaging. You want to mix those together. You probably have 4 ads in that campaign. Let those run and see if you can identify any best performer. Now you might find the ad with the person in it do a lot better versus a chart. Then you want to double down. Now you want to look at it and see, like, can I get this ad to go a lot further? Can I get more clicks, more leads out of this ad? So now you want to start experimenting with a different color variation, different designs and things like that. But those are much safer bets. There's a lot less wasted spend because you are doubling down on a top performer, not a bad performer. There's also in the playbook and on the website, there's also best practices when it comes to writing meaningful ad copy. Since it's already available on the web, I didn't add that to our session today and focus this more towards creatives. But with that said, it's been 42 minutes. It's your turn. Everything you've learned is a step-by-step playbook in the playbook on how to build all of the budget groups, the audiences, the ads in the playbook as well. I'd love for you all to, give it a go, give it a try, see what part of the funnel you might be missing, or the type of audience you might be missing, or, exclusion you might be missing, and share some of that feedback with me directly, or, maybe in our call today in the next session, which is Q&A.
Awesome. Yeah. So Kylie had a great question. My company is about to do a complete rebrand with a new name. Oof, that sounds daunting. Do you have any tips or best practices for transitioning our full funnel campaigns into the new brand? i.e., how to not lose momentum, how to not cause confusion for those already in the funnel, and how to account for previous branded keywords that receive a lot of traffic.
Wow, that's an interesting one and a challenging one for sure. You're changing a really big variable and the known brand presence and all the known benchmarks associated with one brand, and you're definitely shaking things up, which can cause a lot of unpredictability. And one thing is you expect that and make that known, like, hey, we don't know like how this might completely impact our benchmarks and our trends. But one thing we need to do as soon as possible, as soon as we can, is start getting in front of our entire audience and make sure they're aware of this change, right? So awareness is going to play a big role. And maybe for the first month or so, you are really doubling down on your brand awareness, your top of the funnel segments versus your mid funnel and demo. Again, keep those mid funnel or demo segments only to contacts in your database, maybe only target accounts that your sales reps are already engaged with, things like that. People who know your brand, who know you, regardless of the name change, they know you, they've interacted with you, they've met with you guys. So keep them in those mid and bottom funnel offers, and and retargeting, obviously, but keep a close eye. Maybe your costs hike up and like it's not the right decision to be spending there. So monitor those campaigns and see if you should pause and just completely focus on brand awareness for a certain period of time before you start to go after content offers or demo offers to your audience.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if you're okay with it, I'm actually going to drop this question in the customer channel too, and probably get some really good ideas from crowdsourcing on folks that have already done this and kind of walk through the shoes you're about to walk through. So hopefully we'll get some good answers for you as well, because I can't even imagine how stressful that is to be like, oh, everything's working. Now let's completely do something different and try and remake all of it work. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Okay, I'll give it just a few more seconds for anyone else that's finishing up a question here. I know that there were some amazing questions from everyone during the session today. Like I mentioned, all this is going to be recorded, or it is recorded. It will be on YouTube, and I'll be putting that in the customer channel as well. So look for that if you want to share it with the rest of your team. If you've got any other practitioners that are working within metadata, this is a great resource for them as well. And we're actually working on getting all of these in the knowledge base for you as well. So you have easier access to all of them too. So, okay. Well, this has been absolutely amazing, Malika. I could not thank you enough. I learned so much and I work here. So I really, really appreciate just the time and effort and energy you put into this amazing session. I'm sure everyone else did as well. Your answers are completely spot on as always. And you were just a wealth of information today, and we're so thankful for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Katie, and everyone for attending. Please share if you employ any of the tactics shared from the session today. I'd love to get your feedback and hear from you.
Yeah, you know what? I'll add some money on this too. Whoever's gonna get into sharing first, if you drop it in that metadata customer channel first on your top takeaways, something that you hadn't thought of before, different perspective, I'll buy you and your significant other lunch. So drop that in there. We'll get you some lunch. Gotta be the first one, or if there's a few of you, maybe we'll be able to split it out. But yeah, let's make this a challenge. So thank you so much. This was amazing, Malika. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.